This region around the Great Lakes has been called the heartland. When it comes to agriculture, there's hardly an area in the world that compares.
Everybody, just hold on. I don't know what we're going to have here.
There's a lot of self-proclaimed geniuses out there that know the national yield, but they're all wrong.
Manage money, piling in.
Double digits higher.
So at this point, we're in kind of uncharted territory.
There's a lot of money on the sidelines.
So that was a crazy one.
That's what brings the viewers back. That a boy.
Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, December 24th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you get any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area. We'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here at March corn up a penny and 3/4 at 4.49 1/4. January soybeans were up 5.5 at 10.57, and March Chicago wheat was up 5 at 5.22. No export sales announcements here this morning, so we'll jump right in. We will have an early close here today, given that it's Christmas Eve. 12:05 Central. Markets will wrap up there, and then we'll reopen Friday morning at 8:30. It'll be a hard reopen, followed by a full day of markets there. 1:20 close Central there on Friday. We've also on Friday we'll have January options go off the board, so we'll jump right in. Dustin, I know it's a pretty slow news day. We've got Christmas Eve, holiday markets. However, we have seen kind of just a nice steady rally here this week, both in corn and beans, kind of quietly getting March corn back up close to 450. So that's nice to see. And couple that with maybe a little bit of basis push in here going into the first of the year, turns out to not be such a bad deal. So I guess what are your thoughts here as we take a break this week? Oh, we got him. He did it. Oh, he's got no audio. Ben, you got to pretend to be Dustin here, I guess. And Ben's muted.
There we go. I got it now. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but so your fund positions, they updated as of December 16th yesterday, so they're catching up, right? Their intent was to catch up by the end of the year. We're always inherently looking at this in the data in the rears by 3 days, but like this is still, we're 8 days back. But what we did see though is like a pretty big jump in fresh shorts by managed money funds on corn. So corn's in blue here. So they're like rapidly building a short position and starting to liquidate some of their longs again. Doing the same in beans, just bringing themselves out of that long position, just not as aggressively as I would have expected through December 16th. And I think the funds are seeing the same thing we are, which is, there's still going to be a fairly sizable corn carryout in the end, depending on what that yield comes in at in January. And there's just not enough flow right now. We're hearing a lot of reports of, a lot of corn, blue sky piles up in South Dakota. I think that at the end of the day, we're still probably going to have that 2 billion bushel carryout as a probability, even with all this extra demand. So what does that mean for price action? We need to eventually turn that into cash. It's a matter of time when that turns into cash where we'd see that pressure, if it does actually exist. So I think this is the big thing is like if the funds are actively building fresh shorts and then that continues in the next couple of weeks, you see where they just came from back there in, prior to that little November rally we had, going all the way back to August when we were at those contract lows for corn. We're still about almost 10% above those contract lows right now. And that would be my concern is that they try to go back and build that short position ahead of all this grain to move.
Very good. Ben, we saw this morning the reports processors pushing kind of anywhere between 3 to 5, 10 cents in some areas. I guess you talk nice to them here coming into the first of the year. You might give it a little even better bump. But what are things looking like out your way?
Yeah, it's definitely firm. This isn't the first time that the processors have had to secure supplies heading into the end of the year and early next year. I think with the big shift in the weather pattern yesterday, going to be really cold in the eastern Corn Belt. So that becomes even more critical to make sure that they're going to see proper flow. And you can ask for forgiveness for paying too much for corn, but you'll be fired if you run out of it. So no one's going to go without. It just depends on what level they have to pay to get it moving. And I'm sure there's been plenty of preparation in front of this. But if someone's chasing, it might be a really good opportunity if you don't mind hauling in 0 to 20-degree weather, because it looks like it's going to get pretty cold here in the coming 2-week period. So I think it's an opportunity. They will set guidelines on when it needs to be hauled as they look at their flows to keep the plants running. And it's a pretty big deal in the East when you go into a holiday that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and now you're going to throw poor weather on it on the backside. So I would expect it to stay firm until they're content that they're not going to have an issue. And really, they've probably been planning to be full heading into today. And that'll give them the cushion they need to get through the next 2 weeks, depending on the storage capacity at the particular plant. But it's the first 2 weeks of January that will be the tricky part, because at that point they'll have drawn down, a couple million bushels over that 2-week period, and $1.5 million. They're not going to see heavy deliveries all but probably 4 days. So it's a tough spot to be in for them, but they know how to move the needle, and that means it's going to cost them a little bit more for that corn to guarantee it's coming in week 1, week 2 of January. So rally's not going to hurt them. So.
Interesting to see too the next couple sessions with January options going off Friday and being closed on Thursday. Today's price action will be interesting, especially because as you've noted, there is just a number high volume puts that still remain in the money or near the money for that January contract. So it'll be be watching that closely to see where that falls, and what I guess what their appetite is for taking it home on Friday, really.
Yeah. And, looking at deliverable stocks yesterday, report that came out, there's a lot of beans on the river. And we had a delivery period, that week between Christmas and New Year's. So be interesting to see how commercials want to play that, especially with a lot of aggressive sales that have taken place lately. So should we see more price appreciation in soybeans today and Friday because of the big open put, you might want to keep that in the back of your head that there's a pretty big delivery coming up for Jan beans, and there's a lot of stocks in deliverable position. So
very good. Bri, take us out on Christmas Eve here for the grain side.
Yeah, I was just going to add on kind of what Ben was saying yesterday with South America weather. Argentina's had its issues, but Brazil's been pretty ideal. But I was reading an article on World Weather Inc. that a high pressure ridge could be forming late December into January. And as we know, January over there is like in August for us. So really important time frame. So if that does occur, it's going to, dry it out and raise the temperatures. So something that we're going to have to keep an eye on for sure.
So good balance, like we've been preaching, right? Let's have good balance going into the first of the year.
Exactly.
Very good. Right. We got finally saw some cash start to develop yesterday in cattle, and pretty big surprise there on hog and pig report with the lower inventory number. Kind of flip-flopped their way after September's numbers. So I guess what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, no, we did see cash develop yesterday on the cattle side of things. Definitely a little bit disappointing. I think everybody's hoping just for kind of steady across the board, but actually saw it a little bit easier in some areas, around 229 in the north and the south. So, I think we're baking a lot of that kind of negative sentiment in right now. Beef prices falling back pretty sharply here as well. It's the holiday. I mean, these things are going to happen. So overall, it does feel like kind of pricing in some more negative news kind of going into this holiday time frame. So choice was down 7.10, select down $1.10. So we are seeing those numbers come off. Maybe we see a little bit more interest today on that side, but overall, like I said, it just feels like we're kind of factoring in some more negative news. And also the market is just struggling with this 100-day moving average, just cannot get past it. And with the commitment of traders data is showing funds and managed money starting to come back into this market very slowly for the past couple weeks. It does feel like they're carrying a very cautiously optimistic position right now. So I think there's going to be, there could be some big changes here in January with just how the market is perceived, especially after the cattle inventory report. So it does feel like that's going to be the big central talking point as we get into the first quarter. But yeah, on the hog and pig report side, definitely bearish. It was kind of beat expectations across the board. I felt like even in the breeding herd category, even though that was generally kind of more of a steady expectation. So we came out at 101 for all hogs and pigs, kept for breeding at 99, and market hogs at 101. So we are seeing these increase in inventory and definitely catching the market off guard here, especially something like the pig crop, Sepnov pig crop, coming up 0.4%. I mean, we are looking at bigger supplies, and I think in general, you kind of break down the report and you see the farrowing intentions up 2%. From the previous quarter or the previous year. I think overall you just come to the conclusion that there's no way to really skin it outside that this market is going to have a bigger supply to deal with in 2026. So I'd say I would definitely see a negative reaction today on that.
Very good. Appreciate the update there. Wanted to point out just again so that everybody's on the same page here. Markets are going to close early today, 12:05 Central. We will be closing. There will be no markets tomorrow, given it's Christmas. We will have a firm hard open at 8:30 on Friday, followed by a full market there. Close at 1:20 Central Time there on Friday. So we'll be back to visit with you guys there on Friday morning from the War Room. Nick, just wanted to say Merry Christmas to you as well. All of our clients, all of our followers. We certainly appreciate everybody's support. Nick's right. It was a bizarre, tough year for our business, for ag in general. But at the end of the day, we're going to spend time with our families and be thankful that I believe we live in the greatest country in the world. And we're in, I believe, the best industry in the world. So we certainly appreciate everybody and their support here this year. We have a blast doing War Room and talking to everybody every morning. So we're going to continue to do that and continue to grow the War Room. We've got some really fun and exciting announcements here after the first of the year. So we're looking forward to that. But outside of that, again, appreciate everybody that tunes in. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to do so, and it'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with AgYield. So again, thanks to everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas, and we look forward to talking to you again on Friday.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.